All right, now forced vaccinations are back. Not that they've ever really left, but that's what people are screaming for now, which, not for nothing, is weird considering, if you remember, the mere mention of being worried about forced vaccinations a few months ago would have gotten you labeled a conspiracy theorist. But they're back now, and I'm sure we've all seen this pattern for the past year and a half now. People being labeled conspiracy theorists about what the government will do and what people will demand. And then those people who were labeled conspiracy theorists have generally been proven right as time goes on. So, what are these people saying? Well, largely, if you read into a lot of what they say, it largely has to do with not wanting to pay for other people's terrible decisions not to get vaccinated, and they're putting other people in danger. All right. But if you get vaccinated, you are largely safe from COVID, but you still can get COVID and carry it around and spread it. We know that now. So you, as a vaccinated person, are just as much of a danger to the immunocompromised or overweight people as the unvaccinated. Which, again, just a reminder, overweight people, you're a huge chunk of the people who are at risk of severe COVID symptoms. So I know it barely ever gets said for some weird reason, but start your regimen today, eat right, start walking, get active. I'm doing more favors telling you that than the people who would call me fat phobic for saying what I just said. COVID doesn't play the phobic game, but I digress. Anyway, the vaccinated are still just as much of a risk to them than the unvaccinated. But if you are vaccinated, you're not going to get too sick, probably, so you're relatively safe. And it seems the vaccine was a very smart thing for you to do. The people being hospitalized or dying from COVID who have the vaccination is very small. That's true, no question. 150 million people in the U.S. vaccinated, tens of millions have been vaccinated for almost half a year now. No statistically significant adverse effects. Of course, outliers happen, as they happen with absolutely everything. That's to be expected, fine. So is it smart to get vaccinated for your own health? I mean, talk to your doctor and all that. But yeah, it really does seem to be like a good decision for the vast majority of people. And not for nothing, if you think these vaccines are dangerous, I liked Dave Smith's logic on this, which I think is fairly airtight. The vaccine is going to be taken en masse at the very beginning of its rollout by who? Well, by the very people who trust and will do everything government says. Why would they give them a vaccine that would kill their biggest supporters? The only people left would be those who don't trust them or don't care about politics and don't think about COVID. That doesn't serve their interests in the slightest bit. So just based off of that logic alone, I don't think that the vaccine is as dangerous as some of the anti-vaxxers make it out to be, which there are some of them out there that have some pretty wild claims, and they base them off of some weird-looking websites. That's the most I can say. Talking about how it's the mark of the beast, and it's like, all right, I can roll my eyes at that and still be against the vaccine mandate. But anyway, the vast majority of people who aren't vaccinated, it's actually the people who I mentioned before. It actually really isn't people who are rabidly anti-vax. Most of the unvaxxed people are people who COVID just never really affected. They don't live in heavily populated areas. They don't follow politics or the news. They just see it as taking a 15-minute drive, and that's too inconvenient, so why bother? It's likely the same 50% of the population who are eligible to vote, but don't. The forgotten people by Republicans and Democrats, namely. So anyway, a vaccine mandate because they don't want to pay for the bad decisions of others. That's what we're hearing quite often now. Okay, let's go picture for a second, forgetting COVID for a moment, that these are often the same people who are for some sort of nationalized or socialized medicine, right? And this is kind of big picture now, which is frightening because they've now just shown how much power and control they will exert on people if you're not falling in line with what they deem to be the right thing to do. And they may even be right. Let's just assume that for a moment. The vaccine might be the right choice for people. But as I mentioned earlier, so is eating healthier and exercising. Never discount how unbelievably important that is. Would it be right for me to break in, scour through someone's cabinets, and get rid of any sugar-laden food and force kale and spinach down their throat? I might be doing the right thing for them health-wise, and by them having no choice, but what I give them, they could very well become far healthier and save a lot of money for us and take a lot of pressure off the healthcare system. Do we do something like that? Of course not. Do we ban driving anywhere less than 2 miles away from your home? If we did, we'd save a lot of lives from car accidents, and the nation as a whole, having to walk far more, would likely get a lot healthier. We would again save money and take a lot of pressure off the healthcare system. So why not? Well, because it's a gross violation of people's autonomy and their rights. So that line can be seen by all these people, but they've shown over and over that they have no issue with crossing it. So the reason I'm against vaccine mandates really has nothing to do with the vaccine itself. It has to do with the terrible precedent it sets, and the terrible precedents that have already been set, where the further this goes on, the more and more your rights become bartering chips. So you want to get the vaccine, good, great, go for it. I have no problem with that. You'll highly likely be fine, and you probably don't have to worry about COVID. You don't want the vaccine, good, great. You will probably be fine too. And if you're still terrified of COVID and you can't get the vaccine for any medical or religious reason, well, everyone being vaccinated isn't going to help you anyway, as they can still spread it. But like I've said, you've still got options. Wear a face shield, double up on masks, wear gloves when you go out anywhere that there might be a crowd, and disinfect when you come back home. Problem solved. But anyway, that's all for now. Like, subscribe, share this video. It's extremely appreciated. Take it easy.